ba ba. Ba da ba 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 ba. It says excellent. It says we're going, so you know I'm gonna try doing this. All right. Hello, good morning, and welcome to yet another episode of Red Stone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo. Did I just say that? I don't know. Ha 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 ha. Switch to Java. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get into the world, and then we're gonna see if this thing breaks. I'm betting it's gonna crash, but like we're gonna see. All right. Here's the switch. All right, and crashes. Yep. It crashes every time. Every time. I can play normal without recording and it's fine, but the moment I try to switch while recording, it crashes. So yeah. Good morning. A lot of stuff has gone on this week. A lot of stuff. But it's not. It's at this point, man. It's so hard to keep track of stuff. Like, it's like we're entering into unknown territory. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So we're entering. Our country, the United States, is stepping into an unknown, in an unknown direction. Ooh, look at isn't this nice? Man, this looks so good. And the shadows, that's what I'm talking about. The shadows, the subtle shadows that let you know that you're there. Ooh. Of course, to me, it's terrible. It's running at horrible frames per second. But that doesn't matter because what's important is that 60 frames per second are getting to OBS. That's the hope. Yeah, kind of a bummer though. I tried doing two things. I tried the super resolution to shrink the resolution, and I'm trying also the fluid motion frames, but I don't think either are working. I know it shrunk the screen. I know it did, but it doesn't seem to have much of an effect. Is what I'm saying. Look at my frames per second in game. Oh my gosh, terrible. Okay. Anyways, yes, welcome to this week. I'm underground. I'm in the underground. I started this area to get slimes. Now the slimes are kind of annoying. But I found out it's a lot easier for me to play Minecraft while talking if all I'm doing is mining. If I try to do anything else, look at all those shadows, man. All independent shadows. That's amazing. It's amazing. Go ahead and keep your cyberpunk. This is just, and these are just mods. That's all. Just mods. Okay. But you see my tools are about to break, so I need to go fix them. Okay. So, we're on the cusp, right? We're on the cusp. The United States is changing. This is true. Can I sleep before dawn? This is true. We are changing as a country. But that was always the case. That's been the case since the beginning of the United States. The United States has always been evolving and changing. It's not a static thing. Ooh. I was like, oh, crash. It's not a static thing. It's fluid. It's always changing. What was true before is no longer true now because circumstances have changed. And then it's a wonder, well, maybe it was always true, we just didn't realize it. But yeah, I need to heal some tools. Let me get that set up here. So, but there are forces and there are groups of people that don't want to move forward. They don't want the change. They find a place where they're making the most money, they have the most power, and once it's in that position, they don't want that position to ever change. They want to keep it the same. So they will expend a ridiculous amount of energy in order to keep the system flowing or acting in a static position where things don't change. Because why would you change them? It's working for you right now. Like if you're at the top of the if you're a billionaire like Elon Musk, you don't want things to change. Like it's working for you. So like he doesn't care that the environment is all messed up because he's just gonna fly off to the moon or something. That part of cyberpunk. But it's an old way of thinking, or it's a way of thinking that helps the rich people, but it doesn't help the rest of us. Because not everyone we're not all Elon Musk. Elon Musk is weird. Like not many billionaires walking around, comparatively speaking. So, but the United States is, if it adheres to democracy, is gonna tend toward a system where it doesn't benefit the billionaires as much. Maybe they still might benefit some from just having their accrued capital, stolen capital, but they won't grow. Or if they do grow, it'll be like infinitesimally small, the growth. Because once you're a billionaire, like really what are you doing at that point? You're already a billionaire. Oh shit. Safe. So these forces of oligarchy, like they're the people who either want to keep things the same or want to change them in a direction that helps them and not the rest of us. That includes Elon Musk. And then there's the people that recognize the higher truth, the truth that's always been there. We were just unable to perceive it. Our minds were not ready. And that truth is that each and every individual is important and deserves respect. And the respect that I receive depends on the respect that I give to others. And I recognize in others. The opposite ideology, I mean, this is not a new message. It's not like, it's like, woo, brand new information. Man, holy people have been saying this all over the world in their own way. There's like not a whole lot of difference in the holy teachings around the world. All that's different is the flavor. Like, what culture is it designed for? So, right? So, we want to move to a society in which the individual is respected in all the aspects. So, we look in the United States, and what that ideology is at odds with the material foundation of the United States. The material foundation of the United States is slavery and genocide. It's the original sin of the United States. If it was not for slavery and genocide, the United States would not be. It would not exist. The original sin. So, this ideology where all humans, I mean, are respected. This idea of human rights. That is like opposite of the origins of the United States. So in some aspect, it's the acknowledgement and enacting of this new ideology in society is like destroying the material foundation of the United States. If the material foundation is based on slavery and genocide. Because those material conditions create social relations. Like Elon Musk is treated differently because of the ones and zeros in his bank account. And our world is the way it is because people who have the most stuff, the most power, were the ones calling the shots instead of the rest. Instead of it being democratic, like to find out what the people want. So these two ideologies are at odds. One way is to accrue power and wealth, and to maintain a system of oligarchy, rule of the rich, of the few. Rule of the few, and these few happen to be billionaires. Or social democracy. A democracy designed for the people. To serve the people, and not the oligarchs. Because a government designed to serve the people is going to interact or shape the social world differently than a government designed to ensure the perpetuation of an ossified power structure that never changes, except through violence. So these two ideas are incompatible, and we're getting to the point in the United States where it needs to be resolved, or at least dealt with. Let's begin the healing, if you will. I saw a very interesting I won't say, like, I guess meme on Reddit about this. It said how healing really works, and it shows us there's a glass of a big glass of dark red wine in the sink, and someone turns on the tap, and the water just flows into the glass, filled with red dark red wine. and they just leave the tap on, and it overflows. The water just starts gushing over the edges of the glass and into the sink. It just overflows. But they just leave it there. They just leave it on. And if you watch it for like a minute and a half or something, I don't know how long you have to watch it, but if you watch it over time, as the water flows into the glass becomes slowly less and less red. Like there's less and less wine in it. And until after enough time has passed, enough water has flowed through it, then the water is clear and has like little if any wine in it. So that's how they say that's how healing really works. So we're at the point, I think, if we're trying to decide if we want to turn on the tap or not. So that was a lot. But you gotta see, it's not so clear cut. It's not so easy to see. Maybe it is, but it's not always demarcated by an R or a D. For example, there was this bad guy named Eric Adams. Eric Adams was voted to be the mayor of New York City, but nobody liked him. And it became apparent that the only ones that really liked him were cops. So this one incident happened very, very recently in New York City, where a guy jumped the turnstile for the subway and didn't pay the $2.90 fee it cost to ride the subway. He jumped over and ran to go catch this train. Well, a bunch of cops were there and saw him do it, and they gave pursuit. And at one point, the suspect was fleeing, so they withdrew their firearms and fired into a crowd of people trying to hit this fleeing criminal of $2.90. He didn't pay the subway fee. And in doing so, they shot one of their own people. They shot a cop. One cop shot another cop. And they hit like two other people who were not even related, who had nothing to do with it. They were just going to work one day, and they get fucking shot by the cops. The cops chasing a guy for $2.90. I want my $2. Right, plus inflation. Yeah. So Eric Adams was all about defending the police in that matter. Which shows you who does Eric Adams serve? He's not serving the people. He's serving the oligarchs. Those in power. Who don't regard human rights. Who have a different vision. And that's kind of the thing that's like the main theme behind the whole movement right now. Is, are we going to move forward into the future, or are we going to regress back into the past? So, and it's not always clearly demarcated. Anyways, Eric Adams has a D next to his name. He's a Democrat by affiliation, but he's corrupt. Turns out he was getting bribed by Turkey. Turkey was giving him airline tickets, first-class airline tickets. And in exchange, Eric Adams would do things nice for Turkey. So here's the indictment, right? In 2014, Eric Adams, the defendant, became Brooklyn Borough president. Thereafter, for nearly a decade, Adams sought and accepted improper valuable benefits, such as luxury international travel, including from wealthy foreign business people, that at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. By 2018, Adams, who had by then made known his plans to run for mayor of New York City, not only accepted but sought illegal campaign contributions from his 2021 mayoral campaign, as well as other things of value from foreign nationals. So in other words, while he was running for mayor, he solicited foreign agents, foreign governments for money. Like, isn't that illegal? Like, we're not asking the foreign people what they who they think should be representing us. We want Americans to decide that. So what's Eric Adams doing? He's fucking soliciting bribes. That's what he's doing. Okay. As Adams' prominence and power grew, his foreign national benefactors sought to cash in on the corrupt relationships with him, particularly when, in 2021, it became clear that Adams would become New York City's mayor. Adams agreed, providing favorable treatment in exchange for the illicit benefits he received. Bribery! After his inauguration as mayor of New York City, Adams soon began preparing for his next election, including by planning to solicit more illegal contributions and granting requests from those who supported his 2021 mayoral campaign with such donations. So the guy, Eric Adams not only took bribes from people to win, but after he won, he started running for re-election and asked those same people for more bribes. So it goes on. In 2016, Adams secretly begins accepting free luxury travel. After Eric Adams, the defendant, first traveled to Turkey in 2015, the Turkish official introduced Adams to the Turkish Airlines general manager in New York City area, the airline manager. In 2016 and twice in 2017, Adams solicited and accepted free and heavily discounted luxury air travel from the Turkish airline as part of the Turkish officials' efforts to gain influence over Adams on 3 separate trips. So Eric Adams basically got like a first-class, free first-class trips on an airline from Turkish officials. For free, because they wanted him to be nice to Turkey. On October 2016, Adams and his domestic partner traveled to India. Adams' partner purchased economy tickets for herself and Adams on the Turkish airliner for approximately $2,200. 2 days before their flight was scheduled to depart, Adams accepted upgrades for himself and his partner by the Turkish Airlines to business class at no cost. Business class is the highest class offered by Turkish Airlines. Had Adams and his partner purchased their business class, the tickets would have cost approximately $15,000 in total. So that's quite a jump from $2,200 to $15,000. That's a huge jump. In July and August 2017, Adams, a close relative of Adams, and a member of Adams' staff who had served as Adams' liaison to the Asian American communities in New York City, traveled to Nice, France, Istanbul, Turkey, Colombo, Sri Lanka, and Beijing, China. Adams accepted free business class tickets from the Turkish Airlines worth more than $35,000 in total for himself and his companions. In October 2017, Adams and the Adams liaison traveled to Nepal through Istanbul and Beijing. Adams accepted free business class tickets from the Turkish Airlines for, well, in other words, they have like receipts and all this shit. That's what they're saying. Because the Turkish airline provided free benefits worth tens of thousands of dollars to Eric Adams, the defendant, he flew the Turkish Airlines even when doing so was otherwise inconvenient. For example, during the July and August 2017 trips, Adams' partner was surprised to learn that Adams was in Turkey when she had understood him to be flying from New York to France. Adam responded in a text message, "Transferring here. You know, first stop is always Istanbul." When Adams' partner later inquired about planning a trip to Easter Island, Chile, Adams repeatedly asked her whether the Turkish airline could be used for their flights, requiring her to call the Turkish airline to confirm that they did not have routes between New York and Chile. So in other words, Eric Adams totally knew what he was doing. He wasn't being surprised. He went out of his way to use the airlines so he could get kickbacks from the Turkish airlines on behalf of the Turkish government. Whoa, we can leave this place. Leave this place. Go back to your mind. I should have taken the train, but oh well. Oh well. You know what I want to do is start making like a proper item sorter. Because it's just going to start getting ridiculous the more I do this. The more I do it, the more ridiculous it becomes. Just bring iron ore, dude. Here, a block. And then wood. Lol. You have no wood. Alright, that's it. Okay. Down, 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 down. So let me make room here. Make room, make room. Like, it will fill up quickly. Let me just start digging. So Eric Adams knew he was a bad guy. The feds have like all this information. You read the rest, like I don't want to have to read all the thing to you, but what I'm saying is that the feds don't normally bring a case against you unless they have like for sure proof. They have a success rate of like 95%, a conviction rate. So they don't do it unless they for sure can get you. 95% of the time. So it's sounding like Eric Adams is a bad guy. And all the Democrats are calling on him to resign. Because that guy is bad for democracy, right? He's an enemy of democracy and a friend of oligarchy. I mean, Turkey is a quote ally, but their democracy sucks. Their dude Erdogan staged a coup against himself to consolidate power. He staged a coup against himself so he could crush it and then use the coup as an excuse to consolidate power. It's kind of like what Donald Trump wants to do. Well, yeah, it's exactly what Donald Trump wants to do. Donald Trump wants to consolidate power, and he tried to do it the failed assassination attempts. He's trying to paint the failed assassination attempts on Democrats instead of his own people who actually did it, because he wants to use it to consolidate power for himself. Anyways, I don't know. That's maybe a stretch. Let's see. What else do I got? Eric Adams, indictment. He's a bad guy. Man, it goes on forever. Why did I even think I'd read all that much? This is way better. Eric Adams is reportedly being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. So, in other words, he was working for Turkey instead of the United States. And he lied about it. Like, if he would at least told everyone about it, maybe they'd be a little bit different. But he did it without telling anyone. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted and faces the following charges: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, federal program bribery, and to receive campaign contributions by foreign nationals, wire fraud, solicitation, bribery, I guess, I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, bad guy, Eric Adams. That's the mayor who was okay with cops firing into a crowd of people for $2.90. A guy who is on board with police brutality and accepting bribes from dictatorships is probably not the guy you want acting as the chief executive of your democracy. Because that guy's got no values associated with democracy. He serves dictatorships and not the people of New York. So yeah, Democrats want to get rid of him. But he'd make a perfect Republican, because that's what they do. That's what they're about. Now, like, you can ask, well, how can these Americans all be tricked into supporting dictatorship? Well, they have like Fox News, man. Fox News has totally rotted their brains. I don't know, maybe some are racist, but like that's what the system does. It makes racism. Like, sure, you have to untangle. Maybe if they had a chance to unlearn the racism and uninternalize it, they can like heal from it, right? But they can't do it instantly. So anyways, man, this is so low energy. Sorry. Okay. Hey, look, this chart is cool. I like this chart. In the United States and the United Kingdom, its child mortality rate 1841 to 2022. And you see how like it just like drastically falls off around like the time you figure out antibiotics and germ theory. How it just starts fucking dropping like a brick. Like, pretty good, man. Science has done a great job in saving babies that would have normally otherwise died. Like, way less babies die in birth than they used to because of science. Then you look at the maternity. Now you're looking at the women, the moms. In the United Kingdom, the moms had a good chance of dying from childbirth, but check that out. Like right after right before World War II. I guess like germ theory, yeah, it started dropping off like big time, and now moms hardly ever die in childbirth. Same thing for the United States. There was just once you figured out something, it's like right here is like something clicked, something clicked here, and then like was it germ theory? Did modern medicine, like antibiotics? Is it what happened here? Vaccines? Is all that's what contributed to and look how it's starting to go back up again. Yeah, you know what that is? That is the anti-abortion laws being passed by the Confederate States government, the Confederate governments. Grr. Right? Remember I was telling you that in the United States there's two different groups, two different ideas, one that wants to go forward and one that wants to go backwards. And it's a fundamental change, because the big change is that the United States is heading toward becoming a majority minority state. That means there would be no one group with more than 51% of the population who by themselves make a majority. That will be gone. It used to be that Europeans were the biggest, well, not even Europeans, but white people. whatever that means. White people were the vast majority. Right now they're like 61%, I think. Something like that. They're like the majority of the population by themselves. They're the majority. But it's moving toward a part where even all the white people together are only going to be 59 or 49% of the population. And 51% of the population will be some other minority that's not white. So in other words, no one group is going to have 51% by themselves. So what that means is that it makes the white supremacy ideology really hard to implement. Like if you can't control the state just through sheer numbers of the people in your group, the who identify as white, if you can't hold state power, then you're going to become irrelevant. So white supremacy is in a do or die moment for them. They don't have the demographics anymore. Demographics are shifting away from them. Democracy is antithetical to white supremacy. You can't have a democracy and white supremacy. You can't do it. Because they're opposite ideologies. So we're coming to that moment. Now, they thought they had it clinched when Donald Trump got into the presidency, because then they could flip the Supreme Court. They could stack the Supreme Court with Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump would just never leave power. That was the plan. The plan was that Donald Trump would never leave power. But the problem was the United States is a democracy. So the people voted for someone other than Donald Trump. And Donald Trump didn't want to accept that outcome, and so tried to overthrow the government on January 6, 2021 through violence. So he's gonna try again in 2024, 2025. But he's going to do it differently this time. So whereas in 2020 he waited till after the election to try and stop the certification. This time Donald Trump is trying to stop the certification before the election is even started, and they have people in place who are for sure not going to certify the election if Donald Trump doesn't win. How do I know this? Because they've already tried it in Nevada, in Washoe County, where the Republican election officials refused to certify the vote. And they're gonna do it again. They're setting to do it in Georgia, where Donald Trump has become buddy-buddy with the election officials, so that if Donald Trump doesn't win, they're not gonna certify the vote. So it's not expected to like win in court. The delay, it's not expected to win in court. It's not. They don't do it because it's gonna win. They're gonna win on a point of law. They do it for the delay, because their goal is to delay the certification to the point where it is no longer in the hands of the people, and instead moves to the House of Representatives. But it's not the House Representatives that get to vote on it. What happens is each state legislature gets one vote. The legislature gets one vote. And the state legislatures will determine which who's the president in the House, and then the Senate will determine who's the vice president. But the vice president has no power, so it doesn't really matter. All that does is it incentivizes the assassination of the president. That's all it does. That's why they stopped doing it. So the thing is that Republicans control more state houses than Democrats. The number of people that Democrats represent is greater than the number of people that Republicans represent. But they're not going by the people anymore. They're going by control of the state legislatures. And Republicans control legislatures of states when there's hardly any people in it. A lot of empty states are controlled by Republicans, so that Republicans have control more state legislatures than Democrats, which means if the vote goes to the state legislature, the Republicans will end up picking Donald Trump, even though Kamala Harris will have won the popular vote and the electoral college vote. But the states just delayed it through their bullshit denial of certification, because their dude didn't win. Like, you can guarantee that there will be no election, no denial of certification if Donald Trump wins. You can guarantee it. They're not going to be like, oh, Donald Trump won, I'm going to deny the certification of this election for election fraud. That will never happen. They're only going to do it when Kamala Harris wins. So their goal is to get it kicked to either the Supreme Court, who will rule for Donald Trump, or to the House of Representatives, where where Republicans control more state legislatures than Democrats. That's their goal. That's how Donald Trump is going to try to hold on to power. That's the coup, guys. That's the big plan. And you gotta, if you want to know what their agenda is, what their platform is, look up Project 2025. Project 2025. Donald Trump tries to deflect and deny and say, oh, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. He says that, but he's on his private jet flying with this dude, Kevin Roberts. Kevin Roberts is the author, the guy who wrote Project 2025. Why is Donald Trump flying on his private jet with the author of Project 2025 if these two don't know, if Donald Trump doesn't know what Project 2025 is? This guy wrote the fucking book. Like, and you have him on your private jet. You know, has Donald Trump ever put me on his private jet? No. Have I ever talked to Donald Trump about my ideas? No. But I bet you he did. And so, yeah, if these twos are, you know, birds of a feather flock together, if they're buddy-buddy, you know something's up. Yeah. So Donald Trump wants to take power so he can implement Project 2025. Part of Project 2025, and he's been repeating it over and over again, is mass deportations. Mass deportations. He doesn't mean just illegal immigrants. Because in order to sort, like, in order to sort through who's an illegal immigrant or not, you have to process a lot of stuff. So what he's going to do is put people in concentration camps. Say, but wait a minute, Pogo Kiddo. If he puts me and my family in a concentration camp, what happens to my house? Who's going to pay the mortgage on my house? What happens to my business? Who's going to run the business? And the answer is, it's going to get auctioned off. They're going to auction off your stuff. And someone's got to get a real good deal on your stuff. How do I know this? Because they already did it to the Japanese. That's what they did to the Japanese during World War II. So, but this time they're not going to do it to the Japanese. They're going to do it to the Latinos. And anyone else, really, that's not like white. Even then, if you have a last name that isn't an Anglo name, they might come after you too. Like, do you think they really actually care about the details of I mean, like, race is not even a real thing anyways. So, do you think they really care, like, if your last name is different, like, why that is? They don't care. Here's an example. Prop 137 would end judicial elections in Arizona, freezing its conservative Supreme Court in place, freezing it, so it doesn't change. Progressives have been organizing to oust 2 justices who upheld an abortion ban. Arizona GOP asks voters to nullify the judicial elections. They'll be so in other words, Republicans, once they got power, want to freeze things in place and stop elections, which is what they're doing in Arizona, because that's what they're about. They're authoritarians. This election is about whether Americans want to continue to play democracy or not. The people who are done with democracy are Republicans. And the people who are about democracy are Democrats. This isn't like a political thing. I mean, like, it's literally what's going on. It's I mean, the objective standard is who tried to overthrow the election in 2021, and that was Republicans. Who's trying to overthrow the elections now? It's the Republicans. Republicans are clearly authoritarian. Look what they're trying to, like, get rid of elections in Arizona so they can keep control of the Supreme Court. Oh yeah, yeah. So check it out. Clay Higgins. Oh no, I don't want to do that one. That's not the right one. Clay Higgins is a racist. He's a representative in the House of Representatives for Republican, and he's repeating. So the Haitians are suing Trump and Vance because Trump and Vance are repeating lies about the Haitian population in Springfield, Ohio, and the lies that the Trump and Vance are using are such that they're creating violence toward the Haitian population. They're there. The Haitians are there legally. They're not illegal immigrants. They're legal migrants. But see, that's the issue. Republicans don't care about technicalities like if you're legal or not. Their only criteria, the only real criteria, is if you're white. The color of your skin. That's their only criteria. So, this is Rep. Clay Higgins being racist. And he was the Democrats in the House attempted to censure Clay Higgins for being a racist, and Republicans defended him. Mike Johnson went to the press and spoke good things about Clay Higgins, and saying that it's not important anymore now because he deleted the tweet. So it's like it's like it didn't even happen, according to Mike Johnson. And then Rep. Steve Scalise refused to take it up for a vote. He wouldn't bring it up for a vote. Democrats wanted to vote, Republicans control the House, and Republicans refused to bring it up for a vote, whether or not they should censure Clay Higgins for his racist rant. So Republicans are on board with the racism, is what this is telling you. They are on board with it. It's not a question of politics. It's literally what it is. They're literally on board with overthrowing everything with racism. It's their worldview. It's what they're about. Okay, we should put it close to the stairs. Going that way. Gonna need more boxes. But that's okay. So yeah, I keep saying it. It's very important. Very important to know. Republicans are for authoritarianism and the end of democracy, and Democrats are pro-democracy. Even though there's bad people in the Democratic Party. Even though, right? Because the bad people get found out, and then they get kicked out of the group. But for Republicans, they're all bad. And they don't get kicked out of the group. They never get kicked out of the group. Because as long as you follow their secret rules, you will never get kicked out of the group. But if you break the secret rules, yeah, they'll kick you out. And their secret rules are more like never question the leader instead of anything with principle. Anyways. Republican Mayor Doug Dingy committed election fraud. A most peculiar case of voter suppression has been discovered in Wausau, Wisconsin. Republican Mayor Doug Dingy, an election denier, is suspected of illegally tampering with a ballot box and preventing its use. Dingy's unauthorized removal of the drop box has prompted a criminal investigation. Marathon County District Attorney Teresa Wetsten has launched an investigation. Security footage obtained from Wausau City Hall revealed Mayor Dingy donning a hard hat and gloves, loading a ballot drop box onto a dolly and rolling it away. Dingy admitted to deliberately removing and concealing the ballot box in his office. Dingy, in fact, seized the ballot box before the city clerk was able to make it available to voters. Residents of Wausau are protesting, angrily calling out Mayor Dingy for suspected voter intimidation and interference. It is a felony in Wisconsin to interfere with the free exercise of the franchise at an election. According to the Wisconsin Elections Commission, it's imperative for clerks to contact law enforcement if anyone attempts to tamper with a drop box or prevent its use. So the Republican, in an effort to stop people from voting, literally photographed himself carrying away, stealing a voter drop box. Like, because Republicans are anti-democracy. Understand what's going on here. Like, I have a niece and sister who refuse to participate in democracy no matter what, and it fucking pisses me off. I can't do anything about it because it's really, really important what's going on. Like, it affects more than just me or you. It affects millions of people. Like, I guess democracy is like an abstract concept to people. Like, they just don't get it. Maybe that's a failure of our education system. To really impart how important democracy is. But here's this guy, this Republican, so opposed to democracy that he's literally stealing an election box, and he photographed himself. Hey, Fizzy HB Contortion. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Talking about how this dude, this mayor, stole an election box. This is a picture of him stealing the box, the ballot box that people put in their ballots, and he's stealing it. So in the United States, we have two major parties, the Republicans and Democrats. Republicans can be looked upon as the modern day equivalent of the Confederacy. Hey, it's a perfect time for you, right? It's in the evening. It's not you're not going to be like impacting your health by watching me. So it's all right. It's good. So, yeah, in the United States, we have two parties, Republicans, who are the modern-day equivalents of the Confederacy, and then the Democrats, who are like, I would say nominally the pro-democracy party. Whereas the Republicans are trying to overthrow our democracy, the Democrats are trying to preserve it. and expand democracy. So, yeah, but okay. So we have an election coming up in the United States. This election will take place on November 5th. And there's a lot of anxiety in the United States, a lot of tension. It's highly probable that Donald Trump is compromised by foreign governments. It's highly probable. So that adds to the tension. And in the past, Donald Trump has already refused to acknowledge the results of an election in the past. So it's likely he will do so again should he lose the election. So there's a lot of tension. There's a not insignificant number of Americans whose only source of information is Donald Trump. And there's signs that Donald Trump himself is suffering from cognitive decline. So it's worrying that this guy is getting anywhere even close to the presidency. So it's almost like my civic duty to inform as many people as possible about what's going on and to encourage people to participate in democracy. And to highlight the ways that the fascists are trying to take away and destroy democracy. I got to go. Be back later. Yeah, U.S. politics is maybe not the most interesting thing for a grade school or like a UK kid. Like, why would you want to listen to politics of some foreign country? But this is pretty important. This is like bigger than just politics. It's because if Donald Trump is successful in destroying the United States, because if he takes power, he'll destroy the United States. It'll be over. Like, I don't have any like specific knowledge of any specific threat, but Donald Trump doesn't respect the Constitution, so. Donald Trump is going to try to steal the election. Guaranteed. What else do I got? Man, I got a bunch of stuff. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it. It's just so gross. Donald Trump refuses second debate. It's too late, he says. Yeah, he says it's too late to have another debate. Look at him, haha, he's a cowardly lion, ha 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 ha. Okay, in 2020 the last debate was October 22nd. In 2016, the last debate was on October 19th. So the debate being scheduled would be on October 23rd. It would be not really any later than the other debates he already participated in. But he's like, the issue is not that it's too late. The issue is that he's afraid to debate Kamala Harris because he lost the last time. Here's Donald Trump blaming the Jews if he loses the election.
But I will put it to you very simply and gently. I really haven't been treated right but you haven't been treated right because you're putting yourself in great danger, and the United States hasn't been treated right. So if I don't win this election, and I've been very good, you know, they say Trump's been right about everything. I've been right about a lot of things. Even Ted will admit that. I've been right about a lot of things that a lot of people said, no, that won't happen, but a lot of bad things happened, and some good things I've been right about, too. And I only want to be, so I'm not going to call this as a prediction, but in my opinion, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with a loss if I'm at 40%. If I'm at 4%, think of it, that means 60% are voting for Kamala, who in particular is a bad Democrat. The Democrats are bad to Israel, very bad. They'll never change because they have a section of their party now which has become amazingly and quickly very powerful vote-wise. I mean, Chuck Schumer is a Palestinian. Who would have thought that was going to happen? What the hell happened to him? I saw him the other day. Dude? He was dressed in one of their robes. Now, that'll be next. But I will put it to you very...
So... Donald Trump tends to, like, garble his message. You see how far down the rabbit hole he goes with saying how right he is all the time? And he doesn't ever say exactly what he's talking about. He just says he's right a lot. That's all. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Oh, hey, that's a pathway. I can't be breaking that. So, but he said, if I lose in November, it's going to be because of you guys. And that would be, and he said it would be very bad for them. He said it in a garbled way. But that's, like, remember, he's a mob boss. So he doesn't want to make his statements clear. The whole point of him talking is to make you put in whatever meaning you think should go there. He does this on purpose. That's how he appeals to many people. He makes it as, like, garbled as possible, so that you put in whatever meaning you think would best fit. But the meaning I got out of that was saying that if he doesn't win, it's because of the Jewish people. That he's gonna blame the Jewish people if he doesn't win. God, his talking is just so fucking blah. It makes no sense. Violent crime is falling. There was a spike from the pandemic, but after you get past that, it's... The most common myth about Zionism... Oh, this is by Zachary Foster. The most common myth about Zionism was that its purpose was to save Jews from persecution, suffering, and destitution. During the first few decades of Zionist immigration to Palestine, Zionist leaders in Palestine rejected 61% of the immigrant applications. The number one reason for rejection? The applicants were too destitute and poor. Zionist leaders in Palestine like Arthur Rupin and Menahem Shenkin wanted wealthy, strong, single Jews to migrate to Palestine. In other words, they wanted Jews who didn't actually need a safe haven. Those Jews who actually needed a safe haven, those who lost their livelihoods in pogroms in Eastern Europe, they were the first ones rejected. Source: Ger Alroy, an unpromising land Jewish migration to Palestine in the early 20th century. Stanford University Press, 2014, Chapter 2. And it shows this chart. It says Table 2.1 shows that 61% of the applicants received negative answers from Shenkin and Rupin. About 18% of the replies had conditions attached, such as come, investigate, then decide. come only if you have enough money, or come only if you are prepared to manage with little. About 21% of the applicants received positive replies without conditions or restrictions. The criteria for recommendations were fixed according to the economic situation of the applicant, and there was a correlation between his capital and the answer he received. The smaller the capital at the disposal of the applicant, the greater the likelihood that he would be advised not to go to Palestine. People with capital, on the other hand, were generally advised to come and settle in Palestine. So, both together. Not recommended, 60%. The smaller the capital at the disposal of the applicant, the greater. So the colony in the Zionist colony in Palestine wasn't about saving the Jewish people from their diaspora. It was about concentrating capital and power. So a common mistake or a common theme that fascists like to do is to mix up Israel with Jewish people. Israel is a political entity. The Jewish people are literally people with human rights. So fascists will often try to conflate the two, to say that Israel is Jewish people. And they'll say that Jewish people, that the fascists want to say that Jewish people committed millions upon millions of murders, more murders than anyone else, and that they're terrible people. But this is a lie, because they are on purpose conflating the state of Israel with the Jewish people, because they want you, the audience, to hate Jewish people, because they're fascists, they're Nazis. That's what Nazis do. They lie, and they try to conflate the Jewish people with the state of Israel, and that's not true. Who else wants to conflate the Jewish people with the state of Israel? Zionist Israelis, that's who. Zionists want to claim the mantle of the protector of Jewish people, but in order to legitimize themselves. But that's not true. They don't represent the Jewish people. They represent the colonists, the Zionists. That's it. They don't represent Judaism as a whole, the Jewish people. But remember, Nazis and Zionists want you to conflate the two. They want you to believe that Israel is representing all the Jewish people. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. Don't let them trick you into correlating Israel with the Jewish people. The Jewish people are great. They're fantastic. I love Jewish people. I love Jewish culture. I mean, I love all cultures, dude. They're all great. They all have flavors. They all taste different. They're awesome. they're fantastic, right? And then you can mix the flavors. Oh, it's awesome. So but Israel is not a flavor. It's a political ideology. It's Zionism, which is a political ideology, and that can be criticized. Okay. What else do they got here? What else do we got? Eric Adams. Benjamin Franklin hates German immigrants. And since detachments of English from Britain sent to America will have their places at home so soon supplied and increased so largely here, why should the Palatine Boers be suffered to swarm into our settlements, and by herding together establish their language and manners to the exclusion of ours? Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of our Anglifying them, and will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion? That's Benjamin Franklin talking shit about Germans. You see how it doesn't actually fucking matter? Racism is illogical. It has no basis in reason. They don't care about your status, your genetics. They don't care. Hate is hate, and it hurts everybody. So that's an example of Benjamin Franklin talking shit about German immigrants moving into Pennsylvania and changing the nature of the state. Like, it's nothing new, guys. It's nothing new. It's been with us since the beginning. It's a misunderstanding of the nature of the United States, which is a haven. It's a haven. It's a sanctuary. For people who are trying to escape oppression from governments. Well, oppression. Trying to escape and who abide by our reverence for freedom, truth, and justice. So, the hatred that Donald Trump is spitting right now, and what he's saying, and the hatred of all the Republicans, the racism. It's not a new thing, and it's not like they're gonna stop. Like once we take care of this one group, they'll stop. They'll never stop, even if you do everything they want. They will, and you decimate a population, and you eliminate it even. You go so far as genocide, and it's totally eradicated from society. Imagine you do that. Do you think it's gonna sate them? Do you think that's gonna make them be finished? That oh, I'm done. No, they're just gonna pick another group. You can never satisfy racists. You can never do it. It's irrational. A Nazi will never be satisfied if you just take care of this one group. It'll always be another group. And until it's you. Until you're the bad one. And then you're the problem. It always comes down to it. It's always someone else until it's you. So, Ben Franklin, founding father, fucking racist toward Germans. Look at that. That's why we have to fight racism. Okay, what else do I got? Bernie Sanders. It is absurd that a billionaire in America today pays the same amount of Social Security taxes as someone making $168,000 a year. It's time to scrap the cap, expand the benefits, and fully fund Social Security. I agree with Bernie Sanders. Why is it that upper middle class professionals are fucking saddled with huge tax burdens, while the super rich have their taxes capped? That's dumb. If you want to save Social Security for the future forever, The way you do that is you remove the cap on Social Security so that all income and investments get taxed. Investments. I'm not an economics guru, so I'm not sure how you would do that, but I'm sure there's a way to tax investments and tie it to Social Security. I'm not an economist. Sorry, I don't know what that is, but we can do it, right? I'm sure we can do it. Bernie Sanders, yeah. Imagine Bernie Sanders had won the primary in 2016. Do you think Bernie Sanders would have beat Donald Trump? I think he would have. I don't think we would have had a Trump term. And then Donald Trump would go to prison because he worked with the Russians. Although I don't see how yeah, I don't know what the Russians would have done if Bernie Sanders were the nominee. Because, well, Paul Manafort just ran the same play he ran in Ukraine to get Yanukovych elected. He just ran the same play. Lock her up. That's what he ran the lock her up campaign, just like he did in Ukraine. And the Russians helped. I'm sure the Russians helped a lot. Because we didn't know anything about, like, online manipulation. I suspected it in 2014, but I had, like, I couldn't, like, articulate it. I'm like, something's weird. Something weird is going on. And I saw it in World of Warcraft first. Maybe that's just where I saw the resurgence of the right. I don't know. Online, at least. Spooky. Alright, what else do I got? Scrap the cap. Real quick. Ha 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 ha. Introverts at a social event, overstimulated and trying to figure out how to leave early. A bunch of freaked out kittens. Ha 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 ha. Man, these shows are kind of boring. You should watch my Let's Play. It's a lot more organic. And I'm not on camera. What else do I got? I don't know. It's important you vote, America. This is like going to be an important thing. Donald Trump, we know how he's going to try to overthrow the election. He's going to try to block states. But if Kamala Harris wins by such a big margin that she doesn't need those states to get 271 votes, electoral college votes, then it doesn't matter. They can play their, like, they can delay as long as they want, but it won't matter because Kamala Harris will have won without those votes anyways. So that's the ideal scenario, that Kamala Harris wins the election by so many electoral college votes that it's indisputable. Georgia can try to delay, but it won't matter. Their votes will be moot. So, hang in there, guys. Hang in there, girls. Hang in there, folks. We'll get there. It's gonna. It's our destiny. All right. Have a good night or day, whatever. All right. Peace. Stop.